The message arrived without a name, without a number, without anything that could be traced back to a human being. Just a link. He stared at it for a long time, the glow of his phone reflecting faintly in his tired eyes. It was past midnight, the kind of hour when the world felt suspended between yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's expectations. He should have been asleep. He had work in the morning, but sleep had become something that visited him only when it felt merciful. He tapped the link. At first, there was nothing unusual. Just a video loading slowly, buffering against a weak signal. He almost closed it, thinking it was some random spam or a mistake. Then the screen flickered, and the image came into focus. It was a room. Not just any room, his room. He froze, his fingers tightening around the phone. The video quality was slightly grainy, as if recorded from an old camera. But there was no mistake. The same cracked wall near the window, the same chair with one uneven leg, the same faded curtains that his mother had refused to replace for years. The camera angle was wrong, though. It was positioned near the ceiling, pointing down. He instinctively looked up. Nothing was there. A chill crawled up his spine. The video continued. The room was empty, quiet, still, just like it was right now. Then the door opened. His breath caught. He watched himself walk in. Every movement, every gesture, every small habit was exactly the same. The way he dropped his keys on the table, the way he loosened his collar, the way he ran a hand through his hair as if trying to shake off the weight of the day. But something felt off. The version of him in the video looked heavier, not physically but emotionally. His shoulders were more slumped. His face carried something deeper than exhaustion. It was as if that version of him had already lived through something he hadn't yet experienced. He watched, unable to look away. The man in the video sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. Minutes passed. Silence filled the room like a suffocating presence. Then the man spoke. "I didn't listen." The voice was his, but it carried a trembling fragility he had never heard before. "I thought I had time." A strange pressure built in his chest as he leaned closer to the screen. "What kind of fool thinks that?" The man laughed softly, but it was hollow, broken. The kind of laugh that comes when there's nothing left to hold on to. Then he looked up. Directly at the camera. Directly at him. His heart slammed against his ribs. "If you're watching this," the man said, his voice barely steady, "it means you still have a chance." A chance for what? His mind raced, trying to make sense of it. Was this some kind of prank, a trick? But no one could replicate his room like that. No one could mimic him so perfectly. The man stood up slowly, walking closer to the camera. Each step felt like it echoed in both worlds, in the video and in reality. "You're going to make a mistake," he said quietly. "A mistake that will cost you everything." His throat went dry. "What mistake?" he whispered, even though he knew the man couldn't hear him. The man's eyes softened, filled with something painfully close to regret. "You already know." And somehow he did. A memory surfaced, sharp and unwelcome. Her face, her voice, the way she used to look at him as if he was the safest place in the world. And the way he had looked away. The argument replayed in his mind, every word cutting deeper than before. The anger, the pride, the silence that followed. He had told himself it didn't matter, that people come and go, that life moves on. But the man in the video was telling a different story. "Don't let her leave," the man said, his voice breaking. "Don't let your ego destroy something real." His chest tightened painfully. "She won't come back," the man continued. "No matter how much you wish she would. No matter how many nights you spend staring at your phone, hoping for a message that will never come." A lump formed in his throat. That kind of silence. It changes you. The room felt colder. The man stepped back, running a hand over his face. "You'll tell yourself you're fine," he said. "You'll go to work, you'll laugh with people. You'll pretend everything is normal. But inside," he paused, swallowing hard. "Inside, something will keep breaking." His vision blurred slightly. "And one day you'll realize that the person you were, the person she loved, is gone." The words settled heavily in the air. The man looked at him one last time, his eyes filled with a desperate urgency. "Fix it while you still can." The screen went black. The video ended. He sat there, unmoving, his mind struggling to process what he had just seen. The silence in the room felt different now, louder, heavier. His phone slipped slightly in his hand. He glanced at the time. 2:17 a.m. For a moment he hesitated. What if it was just a coincidence? What if it meant nothing? But deep down he knew better. He grabbed his jacket and rushed out of the room. The night air hit him like a shock, cold and unforgiving. The streets were nearly empty, the city wrapped in a quiet that felt almost unnatural. He didn't stop to think. He didn't stop to question. He just moved. Her house wasn't far, but every step felt like a race against something invisible, something he couldn't afford to lose. When he reached her door, his hand hovered over the bell. What if she didn't answer? What if it was too late? The fear gripped him, but he pushed it aside. He pressed the bell. Seconds passed, then a minute. He was about to turn away when the door creaked open. She stood there, her eyes widening in surprise. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was softer than he remembered, but there was a distance in it that hadn't been there before. For a moment he forgot how to speak. Then everything came rushing out. "I was wrong," he said, his voice unsteady. "I shouldn't have said those things. I shouldn't have let you walk away." She looked at him, her expression unreadable. "I thought you didn't care." "I do," he said quickly. I was stupid. I let my pride get in the way of something that actually mattered." Silence stretched between them. He felt his heart pounding, each second feeling like an eternity. "I don't want to lose you," he added, his voice softer now. "Not like this." Her gaze shifted slightly, something flickering in her eyes. "Why now?" she asked quietly. "Why did you suddenly decide to come here in the middle of the night?" He hesitated. How could he explain something that didn't make sense even to him? "I just realized what I was about to lose." She studied him for a long moment. Then she sighed, stepping aside. "Come in." Relief washed over him, but it was mixed with something else, something fragile. Hope. As he stepped inside, he felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if he had already lived this moment before. Maybe he had. Or maybe this was the moment that changed everything. Hours later, as the first light of dawn crept through the windows, he found himself sitting beside her, talking in a way they hadn't in a long time, honest, open, real. It wasn't perfect, but it was a beginning. And sometimes that was enough. When he finally returned home, exhaustion weighed heavily on him. But it was different from before, lighter somehow. He glanced at his phone. The message was gone. No link, no trace. As if it had never existed. He checked his room, looking up at the ceiling where the camera had been in the video. Nothing. He let out a slow breath, running a hand through his hair. Maybe it had been a dream, or maybe it was something else, something he wasn't meant to understand. He lay down on his bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in a long while, his mind felt quiet, and as sleep finally found him, there was one thought that lingered softly in the back of his mind. Somewhere, somehow, a version of him had made a mistake. And somehow, against all logic, he had been given the chance to fix it. Not everyone gets that chance. He closed his eyes, holding on to that truth. And this time, he didn't take it for granted.